Ladies and gentlemen, to offer Divrei Bracha for tonight's honoree, please welcome the brother, the other twin, Mr. Shlomo Yehuda Rechnitz.
The story I like to repeat most about my brother started early one Sunday morning. We got a call from one of our attorneys, a friend, Mike Tushin, who happens to be here tonight, very politically connected. And he said to us, I have an opportunity to meet President Clinton for about 10 minutes. This was after his presidency. He was in Los Angeles for a book signing tour. And he was going to be at the private Van Nuys airport literally for about 10 minutes. He says, we don't have any time. Just get in the car. We didn't know the way. He says, get in the car, pick me up in my house, I'll sit in the back. Incidentally, he didn't realize that when me and Yisroel Zev sit in the front, there is no back. So we're driving to Van Nuys Airport, and we're thinking to ourselves, what are we going to talk to him about? We thought maybe we'll talk to him about Israel, the peace process, the Mideast. And Mike said, you know, I've been by these things before. This is a laid-back, setting. You don't want to get this too complicated. The best thing is to just engage in idle, harmless conversation. So Yisroel Zev figured, you know what? As President of the United States, I'm sure that he would be interested to know that we are the two tallest twins in the United States. Now, the truth of the matter is that there are two college ball players in the Midwest who are taller than us. But the truth is they're not United States citizens, and we figured there's no way nobody knows them, and definitely Bill Clinton would not know about two ball players in some college in some hick town. So we get to the airport, go through a quick security detail, walk up to the president, shake his hand, smile, take a picture, and Yisroel Zev says, you know, it's interesting. Did you know that we're the two tallest twins in the United States? Like this was some accomplishment. Yisroel Zev looks at him, and he looks back, and he says, how tall are you? Well, Yisroel Zev says very proudly, we're 6'8.5". The president gives us this befuddled look and says, aren't the Leonard brothers who play college basketball from Lexington, Kentucky, almost 7 feet? I looked down, I didn't know what to do with myself. Yisroel Zev looked him in the eye and said, what, you never lied before? Mike can confirm this story for you. This is a true story. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight to pay homage to two pioneers in education. Firstly, my sister-in-law, Avigail A'H Rechnitz, who graduated from NYU, magna cum laude, went on to Fordham Law School where she excelled. She was nominated for the Law Review and got the William Rehnquist Achievement Award. Hold the applause, please. And to my twin dear brother, Yisroel Zev, who almost graduated Torah Emes. And once got the Student of the Week award by accident because everybody had already gotten it and it was a leap year. Now you can applaud. Yisroel Zev called me a few months ago and he told me Rabbi Krauss and Rabbi Goldenberg called him up and they want him to be Alumnus of the Year. I said, Yisroel Zev, you can't be Alumnus of the Year. The same reason you can't be Alumnus of the Year at Harvard, because you never went there. Once we're on the subject, I'm glad and relieved that I can finally set the record straight. I'd like everybody to know that I was indeed a good student. And I simply got blamed for all the bad stuff that he did. And I want to publicly condemn all those acts of misbehavior. Are my kids still here? The truth is that this dinner brings back many good and warm, fuzzy memories. There are so many stories. You know, I remember one morning we both went to school, and that's one story, and then there were just so many other ones I can't remember. You have to understand that Torah Semes is different today than it was back in our day. For instance, when we were in Torah Semes, there was corporal punishment, nicht ins Gedacht. People got hit. When Yisroel Zev and I were in a classroom and a Rebbe did something wrong, he got a potch. Tamar, where are the kids? Look, we've definitely made our share of mistakes. One day in 7th grade, toward the end of the year, we both mistakenly showed up on the same day, so the teacher finally figured out there were two of us. Today, my brother and I run a few businesses, but the building blocks and the vast economic knowledge and experience came from Torah Semes. Our first business, as I'm sure Rabbi Krauss vividly remembers, was in those early years. This is a true story. Every day by recess, we would take orders from our classmates for Red Hots and Lemonheads. Then we would secretly slip out of the gate and run to a corner drugstore called Rudolph's. We bought them for 10 cents a box and sold them for 15. I'll tell you, business was good. We were making 40% cash on cash. We had a strong balance sheet and were showing consistent growth. Our overhead was low, but we had to pay Mrs. Dobkin, may she rest in peace, some hush money. Mrs. Dobkin, for those of you who don't know, was the first receptionist in Torah Semes. She died when she was 93, but worked for Torah Semes for over 100 years. She was legally blind, but she always managed to see us. One day, Rudolph's unexpectedly raised the price on the candy. We had to improvise. We had to think fast. We immediately expanded to carry Boston baked beans and atomic fireballs. And then there was that fateful day when we were sneaking back into the yeshiva, and there he was. The thing we feared most happened. Rabbi Goldenberg was standing there smiling because he knew he had us caught. We didn't know what to do. He promised us he wouldn't tell our parents on one condition: if we could convince Rudolph to accept Torah Semes script. That part's not true. Look, in all honesty, we can't blame Rabbi Krauss and Rabbi Goldenberg. Enough was enough. I think they finally had to put their foot down when they found out we secretly tried to sell the school. For those of you who don't know by now, I'm an identical twin. Sometimes people ask me what it's like to be a twin. Well, for me, it's like having a teacher and a friend all in one. I follow his lead. I always followed his lead. I guess it started about 34 years ago when we both lived in a small, dark place for about 9 months. When it came time to leave, I guess I was scared. So I asked him to go first, and I would follow. And ever since then, he led, and I followed. We shared our crib, we shared our clothing, we shared our bed, we shared our stories, we shared our life. We laughed together and we cried together, and then we laughed together all over again. But I always watched him closely and always learned from him. No, we weren't the most studious kids. So sometimes when they were learning geometry, he was teaching me how if a pie is split into 8, you should give away 2 or 3. And when they were learning chemistry, he was teaching me the elements needed to see humor and the bright side of everyday life. And when they were learning social studies, he was teaching me the way to create, build, and maintain relationships and friendships. And when they were learning algebra, well, we were just in Gardner Park shooting hoops. looking for someone, anyone who wanted to challenge the two tallest 8th grade twins in the United States. So Yisroel Zev, tonight I honor you and I thank you. I thank you for being my partner, my teacher, my brother, my twin, my friend. Good night.